Hello, this is Master Marc Zirogiannis. Welcome to Taekwondo Life Magazine Live. I'm your host, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Taekwondo Life Magazine. Well, we've been doing our daily Olympic shows, and I definitely do want to hear from you guys. Our numbers have been really great. What an increase in listenership and in sharing of the episodes. So that was an experiment that we did for the Olympics, with the Olympics coming to an end today. Um, I'm not sure how we're going to proceed, but I'd love to hear from you. I don't want you guys to get sicker of me than you already are, but I would like to provide good content if there's interest in that. We are a member of the Believe Network. Today, we are going to talk about day 3, the wind down day, the closing of the Olympics. As we speak, the closing ceremonies are taking place. The United States and China have tied for gold medals, but the United States has won in overall the number of medals and silver. So the United States finished for this Olympics in first place. So as I said, the closing ceremony is coming to an end. The handover to LA 2028, tremendous excitement here in the States, tremendous excitement in the Taekwondo community. I know that there's already a lot of work that's been done. I know that my good friends in Kuta and the California Taekwondo United are working feverishly to make preparations. And I know that Taekwondo will be opening the 2028 games as opposed to closing as we did here. And that is very, very exciting way to get the events started. And now to get started with your bet credit from our sponsor, Bet Online. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first bet on anything from no more on the Olympics, but you could have on the Olympics, baseball to Formula One racing. Bet Online is every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on blackjack, poker, or unwind with 150 slot games. Head over to the website today, www.betonline.ag, to get into the action. Use the promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your deposit of up to $250. Bet Online, where the games start. So day 3, the 80 plus United States was represented by Jonathan Healy, the last member of the Fab Four from Team USA who hadn't fought. While I know there's great love and confidence in Jonathan Healy, I think probably out of all 4 athletes, the expectations for him in his division were probably lowest. He's newcomer. He has a great future, but I don't think the expectation was set as high for him as somebody as, say, CJ Nicholas. He had an outstanding performance. He got out of the preliminaries. He was eliminated. He lost his quarterfinal match, and he ended up being eliminated and not going on. Respectable showing. We're proud of him. Team USA came out of it with a really, really respectable showing and a bronze medal. We have medaled 2 women at the last 2 Olympics, Anastasia Zolotic, and the woman who ended up beating her and taking her spot, Christina Teachout. Both young ladies. Anastasia was young when she won her gold, and Christina at 18 years old, winning her bronze. Very, very exciting. I think that the Taekwondo, despite what you may hear from some people, old schoolers, was really, really exciting. I think it was well done. It was certainly not perfect. We covered some of those issues in day 1 and day 2. Day 3 probably had the biggest controversy, I believe, of the event. I will try to break down a little bit of this for you, which culminated in a statement last night from WT and some angry statements back and forth. But I'll try to shed some light on it. I want to really thank Coach Andrew Park of the U.S. People submit information when I talk about things to justify and to explain, and it really is helpful, and it shows that they are looking for. He's certainly looking for no credit for it. What he's looking for is to be able to share and disseminate information. And he never asks me to take his word. And so many of our contributors do the same thing. They actually send me um, documentation and videos that I can review, and I try to do that. So the match that we are talking about was really one that created a lot of excitement and controversy. It was against Chile, the Chilean athlete Joaquin Churchill, against South Korea's Geo-woo. And there's so much to talk about here, and I'm going to try to cover some of it and try to just give you a general breakdown so that you can understand what happened. And I apologize, and I'm happy to have you guys fill in anything that you think that I missed if you actually saw that match. So this match and the results and the problem are somewhat of a nightmare for WT because integrity is everything, and there was integrity here, and WT has a process in place to make things right. But for people who don't understand and the kind of accusations that were made, and this was in the under 80 kilogram division, which is the same one that CJ Nicholas had fought in. This was a first round, and because South Korea was involved, I think there was an extra layer of controversy. So the match took place, and it went to the third round, and there was a superiority call that needed to be made. Okay, we understand when it's tied. The first round went to one of the players. I believe Churchill had the first round, and Korea had the second round. I apologize. Best 2 out of 3. So in this situation, had Churchill won the second round, then he would have been declared the winner. To be clear, and as I said, I think I ended up messing up this already in terms of explaining it to make it clear. The first round was won by Churchill, and the second round is the area where the issue occurred. There was a 16-16 tie, and seemingly the system, and I did see a screenshot which did seem to indicate that the color on the KPNP had favored Churchill, which means that Churchill would have, in our superiority system, been declared the winner. However, if you looked at the superiority breakdown, then you will see that South Korea should have won based upon the higher superiority points. So it seems that the system there, and I don't know exactly how that system showed in terms of the screen, because I didn't see the match and I didn't see the screen that shows the superiority. I did see the screen that showed the 16-16, and Chung, I believe, was Chile, and Hung was South Korea. And the yellow in that round did favor Chile, which would have indicated why the referee would have instinctively, again, we talked about this in our earlier episode, instinctively gone on to award to Chile. However, the technical committee, it seems, picked up on this and reversed that decision, saying that he had landed more, that there were more spinning kicks, and that the award, well, let's go back for a second. Once the award was given, the South Korean coach who had lost her card ran and confronted the referee, started gesturing, throwing her hands up, arguing, understandably so, by the way. However, it is a violation of our protocol and not the proper way to protest a match, particularly because of the fact that the card had been lost. So that is not the way that we deal with it. And protests of this type over the finality of a match, there's a system in place for dealing with that, and the WT rules, which obviously gets carried through here, are very, very clear. running towards the referee or going towards the referee and gesturing and being flagrant and going into the field of play is not the correct way to behave. And in the past, some of the argument of Chile is that other referees had been suspended for this type of behavior. However, and this sort of led to their claim that there was bias in an attempt of the WT to foster a South Korean victory. I can tell you from everything that I saw, nothing could be further from the truth. And those allegations, those really, really scurrilous allegations against the WT, while there may have been an error, but that it was in some way driven by the desire to have South Korea be the winner there, really, really prompted a stern response and created a lot of ruffled feathers. While we're sorting that out, let's take a word from our sponsor. So the decision of the center referee was overturned, and that created obviously the need to go on to the third round, and the results obviously were clear. The result and the reaction from Chile and from publications coming out of Chile and related to, I believe, M-80KG, were that this was bias, this was South Korean bias, so on and so forth. And the WT reacted and responded to that. And I'm going to read actually from their response. And I will tell you that this is really, really embarrassing that it happened. However, I could argue that it shows that the system didn't work, but I could also argue the opposite, which is that it shows the system did work. Because at the end of the day, what do we care about? That the right player won. And while the Chilean player may be upset, if in fact they understand that they were not the winner, it's heartbreaking for them. But why should South Korea be deprived of the win if in fact they were the winner? So the letter from WT that came out, and again, it took a little time and they were criticized for this, but I think that the letter came out particularly in response to the fact that Chile went to the press and started posting on social media these heinous things that undermine the integrity of the WT. And again, when I say that, I understand their visceral reaction. World Taekwondo is aware of unfounded allegations being made in regard to the match between Chile's Joaquin Churchill and Korea's Seo Jun-woo in the male under 80 kilogram round of 16, August 9th, 2024. So that was the opening day, I believe. The second day, I believe it was CJ's day. World Taekwondo takes the opportunity to clarify the matter and make very clear that it has acted impartially and legitimately throughout the process. Now, this is where they explain it, and I think they do a better job of explaining it than me. The fight ended 16-16 with the referee declaring Churchill the winner based upon kicks registered on the scoreboard. The technical officials noticed that the outcome is not in line with superiority criteria stated in the WT competition rules and accordingly intervened to ensure the criteria sequence was followed in the case of a tie. The decision of the referee was therefore overruled and the Korean fighter was correctly declared the winner. The game then continued to round 3. So they're talking about the superiority rules, right? Because we're best of 3. We talked about this. We no longer have golden point. So if we go one person wins the first round, every round's got to have a winner. If there's no winner, if there's a tie, what do? We go to turning the highest value of turning kicks. Then we go to the highest value. That would be a head kick over a body, right? Obviously, we're talking scores being equal, right? So if one person got a 3-point head kick, but one person got a punch and a body kick, the person who had the higher value, the head kick, would win. The third is registered hits, the ones that are again, the PSS setting is there. So if you have to get to a PSS setting of 15, but you get 14, the 14 shows up, but there's no points. That's the third level of criteria. The person who has the more registered hits. Then if that doesn't go, it goes to Wusik, which is a criteria of 4 things, starting with aggressive fight management that the referees and corner judges fear having to do in an event like this. So it seems that the computer, based upon the screen that I saw, the color favored Churchill. He had more registered hits. However, on higher points or on turning kicks, the real winner of the superiority was South Korea. That was what was reviewed, and that is what should be reviewed. Because it has to be right. World Taekwondo had prepared all measures to respond to and minimize such human errors. According to the official rules, in such cases, a match result can be corrected within 30 minutes of its ending. The Korean coach, this is the other part of it, because the notion was that the Korean coach, because she was from Korea, she could behave the way that she behaved and not face any sanctions. And if it was somebody else, the Korean coach was officially warned for her behavior in protesting the decision during the review proceedings and reminded of her responsibilities to conduct herself in line with sports values. WT stands by the decision, which was made in line with the rules in accordance with due process. World Taekwondo is committed to upholding higher standards of integrity and ensuring athletes have a fair right. I think all of that is right and true. And again, I'm trying to be objective here. I understand the Korean coach's excitement. She was right. She did lose her card, and that is one of the frustrations. Had she had her card, she could have pulled her card. Had the center referee understood better what the issues were, he could have pulled his card, but it was fixed by the technical. The decision is right. WT was right to take its time in making this decision. I think a couple of things will come out of this. One is I'm looking for a statement from KP&P to see what they have to say about this. If in fact it was a KP&P error, maybe it wasn't, but maybe it was. Number 2 is I'm sure that there'll be a greater emphasis from the referee training to be able to make sure that we take a little bit more time to not rely on the computer and make sure we understand what that level of ranking is in a superiority case. So what further? I know that there was legal action that was threatened. WT didn't actually specifically mention that in its letter. However, M-80KG said that they got basically a cease and desist, I guess, on this. So we'll see. It is controversy, but again, in all fairness, I hate to bring up Olympic controversies, but if we go back to the 1988 Seoul Olympics, when boxer Roy Jones Jr. fought against Korea, it is widely believed by everyone, including the guy that Roy Jones Jr. fought, that Roy Jones Jr. won that match, and that it was awarded by the judges to South Korea. Now, that's not just gossip, because I think several of the judges, the boxing judges, were banned by the IOC for life from that as a result of that decision. However, they never formally gave that match to Roy Jones Jr. So that was not fixed. That is not a fair and just decision. This is a fair and just decision. And I know it may be a hard pill to swallow. And I do empathize and sympathize with that South Korean athlete. I mean, with the Chilean athlete and the Chilean people, because we are all invested in it and it's exciting, and it is not what anybody wants. And I'm sure that center referee is kicking himself, even though it was not completely on him. We feel that responsibility. Believe me, I know this from being in the referee community. We want to be right. We want to be fair. We want to do what's right by the athletes and by the sport. We have no bias. Keep in mind, when we have these international events, that was South Korea and Chile. What does that mean? Center referee, technical people, corners, they're not going to be from those countries, right? We're going to eliminate that bias, or at least the appearance of that bias. So we do try to get it right. I look forward to hearing more feedback. I look forward to LA 2028, and I look forward to seeing you on the mat. Thank you again to Master Andrew Park from the US. This is Master Marc Z. This episode has been presented by Bet Online.
Do you believe